two big mysteries. Why aren't men likable? And why aren't men safe for women? So, the big issue that this brings up is men are not likable. They did not have to be likable because women relied on them in the past. And to be likable is to know what a woman wants. And a lot of this comes down to safety. Men don't even know how to make a woman feel safe either. So that's the real underlying issue, and I want to sort of clear up these two big mysteries. Why would a woman rather see a bear in the woods than a man? What age was she when she first started getting catcalled? And how does that make the male brain like, oh my god, that's way too young? Why don't women like being in, parking garages or elevators and feel generally unsafe with men? How many times per day does the Hooters waitress get hit on? Like, how much of an onslaught of male attention is really coming at women through catcalling? I don't think men understand any of these things, and it makes a lot of men look really foolish, and they don't know what women want either. So, big thing, this post talks a lot about how women used to be chained at the hip. Women used to need a man for almost everything. Women didn't have their own autonomy, their own agency, and that has only recently changed where a woman has her own independence. And it's created this difficult situation, whereas in the past, male culture for the last, however long has been built around men, for men. And now within the last maybe 40 years, men have had to become likable. What does that even mean? Most men don't know the difference between the male 80s power fantasy, the sunglasses, trench coat, big muscles, big gun. That is a male power fantasy. What about the female gaze? Men don't understand the difference between the power fantasy and the female gaze. This is the male gaze and the female gaze. The guy with the sunglasses is scaring the hose. Nobody wants that. The guy who's in the romance novels, who's, kind, caring, and whether he's super masculine or sort of like one of these waifish guys, like me, you don't really care about any of that. It's just like, does this person care about me? How much does he care? And some guys are like, that behavior is creepy. It's like, yes, but the whole point of the movie is that it's not about the behavior. It's that he's an attractive guy and he cares. Those are the two important things. And humor is another big thing that women go after. You've seen tons of not great looking guys with a great sense of humor with a super hot girl who feels totally safe and relaxed and comfortable around that person. That's what women really want. Imagine if your boss at your job was thinking about firing you and replacing you. So not only do you lose your job, you lose your house, and you also lose your life partner. A woman looks at a man like that. A man is the boss, the life partner, and the person who owns the household sometimes. If you're in a traditional relationship, that doesn't make a lot of sense for a woman. You're literally attached to this person who could just throw you away at the drop of a hat. So is it any wonder that men are confused? If you understood this dilemma and said, okay, it's not that she wants me to buy flowers. She says that she wants me to think about buying flowers and then buy it for her. Okay, but why? It's to show that I care, that I'm thinking about her. Okay, why does she need to know that? Because she wants to see a sign that I still care about her and that I am not going to fire her, kick her out, and then replace her with a younger, dumber woman who is just going to submit to all my BS, right? That's really what's happening at the heart of that issue. Well, why doesn't she just tell me when she wants flowers? No, it's that she is insecure about it. the trigger word for a lot of women. Don't call women insecure. But it really is an insecurity. The idea that your financial situation or your emotional situation is not secure. And having that weight on your heart is why women have more autoimmune diseases than men, because they take on so much more stress and so much more emotional anguish. This is a stereotype, obviously. I don't want to make it the blame game, absolutely the opposite of what I want to do. But if you're a guy and you want to be with women more, first of all, be likable. But more important, underlying that is to be safe, to just understand, man, women really have it hard. And when I'm on a date, I will always ask, like, hey, what's your pet peeves? That question's not so great. I try and segue into, what about men infuriates you? I want to hear what you hate about other guys. And then usually they laugh and they're like, okay, finally, I get to like complain and vent. And I'm like, yeah, I dislike that too. I've always felt like strange. For me, like obviously, like I'm an alien, I'm neurodivergent, so seeing these things, I already don't get it, and so I've had to analyze and micro analyze every little thing about these interactions. And I'm like, yeah, it doesn't make sense that most men in society look up to this, 80s action hero male power fantasy, but women are actually attracted to men who are caring and also good leaders, right? Because that's the gap that needs to be bridged in between what men think a good man is and what women think a good man is. And that quality is that leadership. Person who can lead the household, great. Person who is able to position themselves financially, great. A person who cares about the social arrangements around them and positions themselves socially, great. They don't have to always be the top dog alpha male, like shutting everybody up, talking over other people. That guy is a sociopath and an asshole. He is not the alpha male. He's just like a aggressive breed that nobody wants to be around. And eventually, like, those type of guys do get fired from their job if they have their own business. Sucks to say, but having a bad reputation is also bad for business. If you're an asshole, it'll come back to bite you. If you don't believe that, or you've lived your entire life as an asshole who runs their own business and lives their own life, great, cool, good for you. But don't pretend that's the solution for every single person to follow. You can't say, hey everybody, I'm Andrew Tate. Everybody needs to go out and buy 5 Lamborghinis and start 50 businesses, and that will make them attractive to women. First of all, anybody could get rich, but not everybody can be rich and have a business. It's just completely unfeasible to think that everybody has their own LLC and has the not only desire and hustle and the intensity that it takes to be that type of person. You shouldn't need that if you live in a like sane, sensible society. None of that makes a good man to a woman. A woman cares that you are likable. But first of all, that you are safe. Just be safe. Just listen when a woman talks. Just listen to her opinion. They're like, what's your opinion? What's your philosophy? What's your, view on this? Can I get advice from you? I respect you. That's how I was like a neurodivergent person who didn't understand these social things. And like I asked for advice. Women are a lot more socially in tune. We can learn a lot from them. It's like, yeah, it's woke BS to listen to women's opinions. No, just pretend they're a human being just like you. If everybody's a human being and you have empathy for other human beings, which is a whole separate topic, you should want to be safe with them and feel an emotional safety. Like you can talk about whatever you want to talk about, and they can talk about whatever they want to talk about. That's the solution to men finally being able to talk about their feelings. Because I've had plenty of relationships where I can talk about my feelings. I can talk about what bothers me. And I portray my vulnerability. I try and frame it in a form of like, I was vulnerable, I'm overcoming it in this way, and not talk about like really hardcore weakness in a sense. I try and frame it like that. And I think it's wise to, but also, like, if you really are struggling, talk about it with your brothers. Emotional safety is important for you and me and for us to like have a good community and care and not feel like, well, the world is against me, I don't need anybody, I'm self-sufficient. Sure, you could do that, but don't you want to have friends? Wouldn't it be nicer to have a social circle where you could be safe for them, they're safe for you? So the lack of this just leads to this male loneliness crisis. The women know how to navigate it. Women don't have a loneliness crisis. They know how to host a party. They know how to have friends over. They know how to be safe for each other. And women, sometimes they can be catty, sometimes they can be aggressive, but still they have friends, whereas a lot of men just, they don't. In order to be likable, you first have to be safe, and to see that women like when you care. Women like when you put in the effort. Women like when you do little things. Women like sweetness. And it's hard because when you're dating, you're having to show this person on a first date, like, I'm a sweet person. The way to be likable right off the bat is to ask them those questions. What do you think? What's your opinion? Because a lot of women, when I ask them, like, hey, what's your opinion on this? What's your philosophy on this? Some of them are like, I have never had a man really invested in like what my philosophy about something was. They just don't care about my intellectual side of the story. Like, it's so rare to see that. And I'm like, I think that men ask each other like, hey, what's your opinion? What's your philosophy? What's your viewpoint? It's like, how do you take this? I feel like men feel way more comfortable asking other men that and respecting their opinion, but they don't offer that same courtesy to a woman. So if you're watching this and you're the type of person who has this idea of like being alpha is what gets women, as opposed to like being caring is what gets women, you have to meet in the middle and say, what is that common denominator? Like, be a good leader, improve your leadership skills, improve your social skills, and you can do it. My like core philosophy and mission in life is you can always improve your communication skills and your emotional and social communication skills, and you should do it every day. You shouldn't just say, oh, well, I'm fine on my own. Don't do that to yourself. If you're sad and you're struggling, please reach out. Please talk to anybody you can. Ask advice from anybody, even if it's a stranger. That's why the unaliving hotline exists. Just because we always need someone to vent to. It doesn't solve anything. Therapy is a problem for a lot of men because they don't want to rehash the past. They want a solution. They take to coaching a lot better. But still, just venting about something can help you take that first step to overcoming it. But yeah, that was a lot. I hope that this gave some perspective that you don't usually get. I don't hear a lot of men talking about these problems with like male likability, male lack of safety, and like male misunderstanding of the male gaze and the female gaze and what they actually want, and having a positive role model. Take care of yourself. And don't feed into these stereotypes.